Thanks for checking out my video. The first thing that I want to mention is what it is not. This video is not about setting up an Arduino. It's not about making code to control the display that I'm using. What it is about is the changes that I made to update the code that somebody else made. I will also go over a few things that you'll need to get it to work for you. This is the YouTube video for the code. I have a link to that video in my description. From their video, you can download the code. After you download it and extract the compressed file, you will have these three files. The first thing that needs to be done is make sure the JSON library is up to date. Go to Sketch, select Include Library, then Manage Libraries. Type JSON into the search bar and press Enter. There will be several options. I use the one called Arduino JSON. You want it to be version 6 or higher. If you have this, go ahead and update it. If you don't have it yet, install it. You can see that there are several versions you can choose from. You want it to be the most current, version 6 or higher. A couple things before we get to the code updates. Right here where it defines num max, this is the number of 8x8 display segments that you're using. The module that I'm using has 4 of these pre-assembled, but you can also connect individual segments or multiple segments. This value needs to be the number of these segments that you're using. My display has 4 segments, so I left it at 4. The value for rotate depends on the model of the segments. If the display is outputting incorrectly, you can try changing this value to 0, 90, 180, or 270. The value of 90 is what works for the display that I used. These 3 define statements are the pin connections for the Arduino that I used. I did not change these values, and these pictures show where they are on the parts. Some people connect the VCC to the 3V3 pin, but I connected it to the 5V pin. Now we go to the section that everyone will need to change to match their personal settings. To have it connect to your Wi-Fi, you'll first need to enter the SSID or Wi-Fi name that it will connect to. Next, you'll need to enter the Wi-Fi password. For the API key, you'll need to generate a YouTube API v3 key. You can do that at this website. Now, you will need to enter your YouTube channel ID. And finally, to make sure the clock is displaying the correct time for where you live, you will need to change this UTC offset to match your time zone. If you don't know what the value is, you can guess and see if it's correct when you run the code. This value can be positive or negative. And now onto the code that needs to be updated. To find the first section, I click the Verify button to compile the code. It found an error near the bottom of the page. The error message that it's giving basically says that this part is programmed with JSON version 5 code, so we will need to update it to JSON version 6 code. All of these lines will need to be updated. For the sake of this video, I won't be deleting this code, I just commented out. You can see right here the version 5 code, and below it is a version 6 updated code. If you are updating this code for yourself, pause this video before moving on. There is one more update that needs to be made, so I click Verify again for 2 purposes. To make sure I entered this code correctly, and to find the exact line of the next part to update. It's actually right below here in this update time function. This line doesn't like how the modulus operator is being used. This is important to make sure the time is always displayed correctly. It wants a long end on both sides of the modulus operator, so let's cast this first part to long. The second part is already long, so now it should be good to go. Click Verify and it should now compile. At this point, it should be ready to upload to your D1 Mini and work. But there is one more change that I made, and it has to do with how the time is displayed. It's higher up in the code, so I did a search for a call to this function, update time. This is only in the code twice, the actual function and the call to the function. I didn't change this, it just helped me get near the section that I wanted to work. This is a line that sets up what will be displayed. I'm not deleting anything here, just adding to this section. I commented that line and added above it. This part that I added is where you tell it if you want it to display as AM and PM or if you want it to display in a 24-hour format. If you want the 24-hour format, you could actually just leave this whole section update out. This part for daylight savings is a bit optional because you could also change the UTC offset value that I mentioned earlier to perform the same change. The next bits of code is just for the display layout depending on what time it is while it is displaying the AM/PM format. And again, if you choose to add this section in, then feel free to pause this video here. And to make sure everything is entered correctly, click Verify. If you've done all this, but the display still doesn't show your info, go back to the top and double check these things. Make sure you have the correct Wi-Fi name and password entered. Make sure your API key is entered correctly. Then make sure you have your YouTube channel ID entered. And if your time is showing the wrong hour, change the UTC offset value up or down to adjust that. Thanks again for watching this video, and don't forget to check out the video made by the original creator of this code. The link to that video is down in the description. And if you would like to see the project that I made where I use this display, the link to that video is also down in the description.